Hey, everyone, and welcome to Signals from the Frontline, your once again recorded on a Tuesday broadcast brought to you by Frontline Gaming. We are your hosts, Kicker, the chief of cereal, and Sigilite of the FLG. And I'm Seth, the Mad Doc, your competitive correspondent. Kicker, bud, how you been doing?
I'm doing great, Seth. Yes, folks, this is a pre-recorded episode because it is the holidays. It is the holiest of holy days. It is Thanksgiving. Well, kind of Thanksgiving week, Thanksgiving month, really, but Thanksgiving week. So we're having to pre-record the show a little bit.
Kicker's
That's
just
okay.
really into them Black Friday deals, folks.
Yeah, Black Friday deals on Black shopping already. Seth and I will probably be in chat tomorrow, though, while we're sitting around with our families. Seth, I got to brag, man. I got to play some 40K.
Sorry, that's a scathing indictment of our families. We're doing this early so we can spend time with our families, but more probably still be in chat.
That's very likely. Guys, if you are listening to our podcast, you should be watching as you should normally watch every Wednesday live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can see these cool visual elements and be part of the chat. There will be a chat with this show, even if it is a pre-recording. Seth, right there. Do you see what that is? That is a battlefield.
That's guard. That doesn't look like Votan to me, son.
No, my friend. That was me this weekend playing with my guard and literally in tears because I was having so much fun. They were tears of joy because guard is my true love, and having not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10 tanks on the battlefield made me so happy and proud. The new decks definitely does work well with tanks, and I was able to move my tanks up the front and take over the majority of the battlefield in the first 2 rounds. It was a lot of fun, man. And for hobby progress, because yes, I am rushing to get my whole guard army ready. Can we show that next photo right there? Look at this. Yes, 2 more tanks coming off the construction, the factory line.
At least it's not a Royal Dorn yet.
These are not Dorns. No. These are just standard Lehman Russes, but I really didn't have that many plasma executioners, which seem like the spicy new, sauce, I guess. I don't know. Am I saying this right? The spicy new stuff. I don't know. The secret ingredient is executioners. They are amazing. So go with plasma tanks. That's what you want. So I needed more. So there they are. Seth, I know you've been pretty busy too, right? You've been
I've been trucking along, trying to stay, honest. To what we told the community we were going to do, which is build and paint Votan. So I finished up over the weekend 15 Berserkers. If you remember from last week, I told you I tried to get a test model done before the last show, and I sort of melted it partially. But I did, manage to finish up. I built them with axes. I'm going to play them with hammers, but the axes just look too cool, so I had to go with it. So that's 15 of them done.
What is the color combo? So for those of you listening, the blade of Seth's axe they are gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous. What is that color combo? What is your recipe there for that bright green color?
It's a base white, and then I think I did like a layer of moot green over it, and then the very tip of the blade, because like I liked in the codex how they did them where they were like orange, but the bright part of the orange was on the inside of the blade and the dark part was on the outside, which is kind of different than how we see a lot of them done.
Yeah, totally.
So I tried to do that with green. So I think the outer part was like Cerebite green. It was a darker green. So cool. It kind of has that transition.
Well, it looks sexy, man.
Yeah. And I was like, they have glowy green axes, and they've got kind of, the blackish purple armor, the yellow pants, the, gray, astro granite ground, and those kind of pops. So I finished those. And then I embarked on building land fortresses, which I have been told that kit is a bugger to build. And I built 2 in the last 2 days, and I got to say, went together fine. Now, I will tell everyone the trick that I have found. I am going to paint my canopies, which means I almost had an entire sprue of the 3 sprues in the box that I didn't have to use, because that's how many little bits and parts go into those cockpits.
Yeah. And now you have all like fun conversion material, right? That
so
you can use
I'm going to paint it because I kind of like the lack of faces on a lot of my Votan. It kind of makes them a little bit more alien feeling to me. So I want to paint them up and make them look cool. So that's what I've been up to. Kicker, why don't you get us into the industry news?
Oh, wait. I just got something very important we got to talk about. Is the jank of the week. Normally, Seth, this is you coming in with the crazy janky rules, but I realized, I showed my hobby progress there of so I got a Vanquisher as well as those executioners. The Vanquishers are kind of like the sniper rifle tank. Check this out. I ran them this week, and I was blown away with how good this little I guess combo was. I'm not saying it's overpowered. I'm not saying it's going to change the whole world.
Newsflash: Kicker saying it's overpowered. Everyone be ready. Overpowered combo. Coming.
But it was fun, and it was a reliable result. So check this out. You take the Vanquisher Lehman Russ tank, which is it's got a strength 14 one-shot gun. It's -5 AP. Damage is 6. plus D3 plus another D3 mortal wounds. So you do the math. That's up to 12 wounds
It's
right
like
there.
a railgun.
It's basically a railgun because it ignores invulnerable, right? So,
Okay. All right. So it really is a railgun.
It really
All
is a railgun, right? You only get one shot.
Yeah.
But bear with me, you're hitting on threes. You can make this tank a tank ace for very few points, and you can give it the basically the doctrine that allows it to get rerolls to hit. So you take your one shot, you miss, guess what? You get a rerollable 3-up to hit. You're going to wound him. You're going to destroy it. You're probably going to do at least 7. Well, no, you're going to do at least 8 wounds minimum because of D3 plus another D3 mortal wounds.
2 D3
so minimum of 8
basically.
wounds. And guess what? If you fail to actually wound, because say you're only wounding him on a 2 and you roll a 1 on your wound, that's okay because you can just use your free chapter. Not your free. You use your reroll strat to reroll that. So, but basically though,
CP.
I was guaranteeing, CP reroll. I was guaranteeing, one dead transport of my opponent each turn it fired, and it was wonderful. I loved it. Made me very very happy.
I like it.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay, so new products, Seth.
Yep.
I think we should. I think we need to bring in our special someone here. Where's Tech Priest Dickie?
Do we? Okay.
Yeah, we have to, guys. This is big news. There you go. It's your favoriteest thing in the world, Tech Priest Dickie. It is the World Eaters. Tell us what you think.
Be quiet, Kicker. There is so much rage in my heart.
In your heart.
That's how much rage is in my heart right now.
The color
the
of our
screen has turned red for the audio listeners.
So red. So red.
There's so much blood.
So much red.
So there was a preview last Friday night, and they previewed the World Eaters.
Be quiet.
What? Okay.
I will do this.
This is his moment of joy. Let him enjoy it.
Everyone, we have World Eaters. We have World Eaters. I don't know when they are coming out. I really hope it's soon. I imagine it's January 2023. Sorry, we're not getting it soon. I apologize. I'm sure Kicker will release all the information early for me and you, because we just, once the information hits us, we're gonna get it out. Look at those guys.
Gorgeous.
Those are the 8-bound. What's so special about them?
Yes, Dickie, tell us what's going on with the 8-bound or whatever they're called.
They definitely didn't miss chest and arm day. That is for sure.
What about leg day? You got to get to combat.
If you look, they got some chunky cows going on under there.
As a non-World Eaters player, is this an entirely new unit, or is this something that they just made new models for?
Okay, so that's a controversial question.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so I would imagine these are gonna be. We have a cancel. We have very close to possessed or possessed type models.
Now, are these possessed with any demons?
They are possessed with 8 whole demons in.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I guess that's why they call them 8-bound.
Yeah,
there you go.
I like that.
I feel like they have to have 8 attacks on their profile then.
Oh my gosh!
Wait, so here's the bad thing. I don't think you can field them in. It's a box of 3, so you would imagine that it's going to be like 6.
It's not going to be a unit of 8,
right?
They just screwed it up right there.
GW, if that codex isn't printed yet, you need to change that right now. And if it is printed, I expect a day 1 FAQ.
Yeah. And then, go ahead. Yeah.
No. Okay, so are these your favorite unit from the preview?
I kind of love them. I know people don't necessarily like the way they look. I think they're fantastic. These are the exalted.
People can be wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
That's right. That's what I was going to tell them. These are the exalted 8-bound, which is a different data sheet, Kicker. So you can run 8-bound and exalted 8-bound. I think it's kind of fun. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and they're big chunky boys. And then we have the jackals. I guess that's
which are sort of like corn cultists, right?
Yeah, they're angry. Like, I love how giant the weapons are. Like, how are they holding some of these up? Like I don't know.
I believe
in the far future
there might be some performance enhancing substances.
Oh yeah, and also
I don't believe that these guys are natty.
No, they definitely lift alongside the 8-bound. But there's a big Marini guy in a cultist squad, which I think is super super amazing. He must be dishonored or didn't want to fight or get blood or something. I don't know. Whatever it is, he's there.
I suddenly have a strong urge to investigate what sort of like fitness center does the World Eaters provide their staff.
They're so yoked. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean,
they've got to have like a hell of a strength and fitness coach.
yeah, I mean,
You know what
they're
I
hitting
mean?
a Planet Fitness on a daily basis for sure.
I think they
Oh.
got kicked out of Planet Fitness.
Yeah, they definitely
maybe.
for throwing the weights down, they definitely got kicked out of Planet Fitness.
Yeah. All right. So we've got our world leaders. This is wonderful news. We're excited to see them. You've got this HQ guy riding a donkey or whatever.
Juggerlord.
Juggalo. There we go.
Well, whatever.
Juggalo. I don't know.
Is he funny? Is he a clown? No.
He could be.
Is he a joke to you?
There's they didn't show Lord Invictus, but there he is, in all his chain glory. Yeah.
Nice.
So I think what people are not talking about, which blew my mind, besides of course these amazing world leaders, was the Wolf Riders. Wolf Riders are coming back. They've just disappeared off the face of the
AOS.
Wolf Riders.
Wolf Riders. The fantasy
Goblin
Wolf
Wolf
Riders were
Riders.
one of the
Wolf
best
Riders.
units of all time.
Wait,
or at least
are you telling me you didn't just shut off the preview right after the World Leaders was released?
like, I've seen it. I can go home and know. Man,
I actually do know a gentleman that perhaps stopped driving to watch the preview for World Eaters, and then once the World Eaters part was done, turned it off and continued driving.
I was at the boys, and I just stopped everything, and I pulled out my iPad, and I started watching this in front of everyone.
in the middle of a round,
Yes.
just to stop.
Look how glorious this is. That's Angron on the table.
That's Angry Boy. Look how angry he looks.
He's so angry.
You know what I'm angry about? One of them skulls around his neck.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yarrick.
So I think we have to address the elephant in the room now that Kicker talked about his wolf people or whatever.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're not going to have individual Red Butcher Terminators. So everyone, I'm sorry. It looks like it's going to be a CP to make them Red Butchers, or I don't know. But regardless, I think they look good. And I will tell you, those 30K Red Butchers, they're gorgeous models. And maybe looking to getting those if you want a fancy Terminator unit.
Dickie already has stock in them, by the way.
I already got a whole bunch. Yeah. So I'm ready to rock and roll. So, yeah.
Okay, so we don't care about the Goblin Wolf Riders that are reincarnate in the new fancy.
I do. I like them.
I think they're gorgeous models. We can move on from them.
They're a great conversion fodder if you want to do like a Gretchen army.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, I don't know, so much potential with those models.
I know Dickie doesn't care about that.
Rage building.
But what about the new? Okay, Rage building, dude. What about the new demon guy that got released? The angry, like kind of mech, kind of demon thing going on there.
Oh,
Seth, did you catch his name?
We could talk about him.
Yeah.
Vashtar?
Yeah, Kashar. There we go. Yeah,
cool. As a long-time Vashtar player, I love this model. This is the guy that we saw in the rumor mill pictures they've been putting out, where everyone's like saying dark mech. This is apparently going to be one of the main chaos characters in the Arc of the Omen series they're going to be putting out of campaign books.
Seth, that series is going to be the boarding action focused series, or it's going to involve the boarding action rules, which is using into the dark terrain.
So but he looks fantastic. Like he's like demigod level, not Primarch level, but he's looking like he could lay a smack.
Do you think that this is the beginning of dark mech? Do you think that he's going to somehow be part of the dark mechanics, or purely just because
I think this might, I could very easily see this being it, because you could probably easily get him into, depending on what keywords and rules and yada yada yada. I'm sure you could get them into existing chaos codexes, and aesthetically he would fit with a lot of those armies. So they don't have to, but it also is a nice jumping off point if they want to.
So totally. I have to tell one joke that I saw in chat last night for Grim. So he's the creator of all the demon engines. I'm not so worried about him, because demon engines are known for not being so good. So I'm thinking he's going to make them pretty good. So I love
a Disco Lord is riding a what?
I don't know.
A
demon engine.
Yeah,
and those things are mean.
But
those things are mean.
Look how cool this is. Oh.
Yeah. I am going to keep us moving along because we have a wonderful special guest that has to reveal some very important stuff on this episode. So let's talk really fast about the mats that Frontline Gaming released today. Yes, today. 4 new mats have been dropped. We've got Arid Desert, my personal favorite, Cataclysm, Jungle 2, yes, super original name there, Jungle 2, and then Nebula. So we've got 4 brand new mats. These will be going up for sale. And guess what? We've got our massive Black Friday sale happening this week. It's the biggest sale Frontline Gaming does all year long. And these brand new fancy mats are part of that. You can get up to 50% off the secondhand shop. The mats are on sale. It is the deal to not miss out on.
Yeah.
And Seth, I guess we should talk about what's going on with the events, because that's kind of important. We have a little announcement regarding the Cherokee Open. Looks like War Games Live Joe is going to be joining us at Cherokee. Yeah, you guys know him, you love him. This community legend. Rocky Mountain Open, we're going to be having 40K Legion, and we're trying to add Age of Sigmar. If you or a friend or you're interested in seeing Age of Sigmar at the Denver event there, shoot me an email, events@frontlinegaming.org. We have a few people that are interested, but I'd like to find a local guy that wants to run Age of Sigmar. It'd be kind of cool that event, to have a local guy running Age of Sigmar in Denver. And then big news here, we've gotten bombarded with people trying to be exhibitors at LVO. We've got a few really exciting guys that have partnered with us. Creature Casters coming in with a big 10 by 30 booth, so a massive booth. We've got Warlord Games coming in. Warlord Games makes Bolt Action as well as several other games. They've decided as of this morning that they want to be a part of LVO in full. So they've already got a big event there, but now they want to have the booth with some potentially first time ever released models presented at LVO. And everyone loves these guys. Monument Hobbies is showing up in full as well. And Monument Hobbies has a very long, very big cult following within the community. People love their stuff. They're pro acrylic paints. Seth, have you tried Monument Hobbies stuff at all?
No, I've not. But they make the pro acrylic paints. I've heard a lot of good things about them. I just haven't delved too deeply outside of the Army Painter and GW ranges.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you right now, in the rollers bag, and I know you get a high rollers bag. There'll be some really sweet Monument Hobby stuff. Not one, not two, but three different things from them in the high rollers bags.
Their white paint is the best paint ever.
Really?
Oh, was that the white paint you were telling me about, Dickie?
Yes,
because Dickie was telling me about like a really good white paint, because I still haven't found one I really love. And all right, so I'll have to check that out. I'll have to pick it up.
Seth, we are done with products and events. Let's jump into the FLGN news. What happened this week, and then let's bring in our guest.
Nothing happened this week.
Nothing happened this week.
If you remember from last week, there was a Grim After the Signals Thursday show combo, which was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, it just really was great. Even with Danny there, it was still great. So check that out if you haven't. And then there was a Dickisode again this week on the lovely Grim After Dark, where they had Mitch from both FLG staff judge fame and the Best in Tabletop Network. So it's good to have him back on and watch those guys have some fun. And then of course you got us here again tonight, and that's what's been going on in the FLGN. But Kicker, do you want to bring in our illustrious guest?
Yeah, guys. So we've got a very special guest for you guys. This is John. This is Salty John himself, the head LVO judge, a Frontline Gaming staff judge, the Mr. 40K when it comes to the competitive scene. There he is, Mr. John. Salty John himself. John, first of all, hi, how you doing? What's going on in your world?
Hey, not much going on in my world. Just trying to survive.
Why is there a mannequin in the background?
That's my wife's dress form. This is a shared hobby room.
Okay.
No,
I was like, man, he's getting into some real 40K cosplay back there.
No, my wife likes to make costuming, and she has to do costumes for the drama club we both run at our school. So,
okay,
the dress form serves a actual purpose other than being creepy in the background.
Although your wife should probably make you a really sweet commissar outfit to wear as the judge, just roaming the halls at LVO. I think that'd be pretty.
No, Inquisitor, definitely.
Inquisitor. Yeah, he's
because Inquisitor has unlimited power.
There we go. Yeah. John, you've been on the show before. You know the shtick. What's your favorite cereal? Just get it out of the way now. Your favorite.
I think last time I said Lucky Charms, but I recently rediscovered Golden Grams.
Golden, yes. Look at this. Look at this. We're kindred spirits. I bought 2 boxes of Golden Grams yesterday, man. It is that it's a very seasonal cereal. It's perfect for Thanksgiving. Golden Grams and Thanksgiving go together like peanut butter and jelly. So
for sure, yeah.
I don't know that I've ever equated a cereal to being seasonal before, but now I know.
If the palate is correct, then it is what it is.
Okay, all right.
Golden Grams are the pumpkin spice lattes of cereal.
There we. I love it. All right. So John, for those of you, those of our listeners that have not met you or have never been to LVO before, maybe you can give a little background on I guess your credentials, that you've been doing this for a while, et cetera, right? And that, what to expect at LVO, because you are the judge and you're running we have a full judge team at LVO. It's not just you for 1,000+ players. It'll be you and your guys. How did you get into judging? Just really fast.
Well, when LVO got too large for Reese and Frankie to do everything, including judging. They reached out to some of the locals here in Southern California to help do it, because at the time there weren't that many like GTs and majors. I don't know if people remember that, but there was a time where there was not one every weekend, and now we have like 18 every weekend.
Yeah, every weekend.
So they reached out to a group in SoCal, and then the next year they did it. They needed to get more people, and they asked me. And then the following year, I kind of ended up getting put in charge because I had like the time to do stuff, and I'd put together a video, which I put together a video every year from the judges. And I guess because I had the time to do certain things, I kind of got put in charge. And for a while, we didn't want to have like the head judge moniker, but then eventually we decided we needed to have like a specific person in charge of the team. So that became me.
Yeah. And it's been really,
I think I've done it since 2016.
But dude, it's been amazing having you as the primary point of contact for the LVO when it comes to 40K, because there's about 50 different game systems being played, and to have one point of contact run the let's just call it like 15 judges underneath you, as opposed to me having to deal with all 15 judges individually.
Yeah.
Just for 40K would be very overwhelming. So, you do an amazing job. You keep things organized and things on time. I mean, and more importantly, you're super responsive to the community, which is where you are. We're at right today. What's happening right now? Why you're on the show? Were you the one that really wanted this? I guess survey that we put out last week.
I mean, I think it was my idea, and then I put it together for you guys. So
it was amazing. So Seth, do you want to give a little background on the survey, because you, as a participant, you took part in that survey. Seth, give us the quick 1-2 sentence description of what the survey was. We went through it
last week in pretty big detail. So if you want to get the nuts and bolts of everything, but essentially think of it kind of as an annual survey, or maybe. I don't know if it's going to be annual yet, but essentially, how has your tournament season been in terms of like FLG events have you gone to? What has worked well? What has not worked well? What can be improved upon in general in terms of events? And then some specific questions that we knew the community was interested in.
Yeah, and I think it's important to know that we did 2. And then there's people who were like, why would you do 2? Well, I think the reason we did 2 is we cared about hearing from everybody. So we wanted to hear from people who didn't necessarily attend the events this year, but are people who are in the community who are potentially people who attend our events. So there was that one. And then we have a specific one for if you attended the event and or events.
And actually some of the chat pointed out last week, which was also kind of, I guess, a tangential benefit here is, Kicker obviously cares about the guys that aren't at the events because he wants them to come. Yes. But a lot of community members were also pointing out that what FLG does becomes a standard at a lot of other events. So giving those people a chance to have an input on decisions that are made at this level, because that will filter down to other events, is something to think about.
So no pressure, John, but don't screw it up, man. Like, you got people
pressure, but not only are the FLG events depending on how you handle this, but other people's events are too.
Sure. Well, but it's kind of cool though, right? Like after we put that survey out, and after our show last week, people were asking us from around the world, like, hey, we really do pay attention to what you guys do. And people are asking access to like the player packet and stuff, because they want to see how we run the LVO, because that's how they want to run their own events at their own home. John, so first of all, do you have any interesting feedback or any that we got so far? Because I know it's only been about a week, and there's a lot of people taking the survey, which is what we want. We want as many people taking the survey as possible. Yeah. But I mean, have you started to gather some of that data?
Yeah. So from the participant survey, there's 174 responses so far, and then from the general survey, there's 218.
Cool.
So that's pretty good. At first there were not very many participants responding, and then I think we finally filtered in everybody's inboxes.
It took me a while to get
spam
that many emails out. Yeah.
I think a lot of it ended up in people's like update folder or forum folder or spam folder or like whatever. So, but anyway, we've gotten a lot. And then the response has been, some of it's pretty predictable. Like, hey, what's your preferred form of play? Well, match play is like 90+% of both groups.
Yeah.
The points, like I like to ask the question, hey, what point level do you like to play at? Because, that changes from time to time. So why not put it out there? And overwhelmingly 2,000 points, which is what it's been for years. So,
but maybe we should touch on the point. It might make more sense to. I'm not saying we do this, folks. Before you all, attack me here. But like, if we did 1,750 or 1,500 points, we'd have faster rounds, and that could be a plus, right? Maybe.
I've been an advocate for shorter round times and shorter events
Mhm.
and earlier start times for a long time, which
yeah,
I know
earlier
the
start
earlier
times,
start
yeah.
time thing is people jump on me about all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, man, if the tournament started at 6 a.m., I'd go to like tons of tournaments because
All right, whoa,
I
whoa,
need
whoa,
time.
6
I need
a.m.
time
Whoa.
at
So
the end of
it's
the
like
day.
not-
I was like down with like an 8 a.m. start time, and then you threw out 6.
Look, if I start at 6 at the bottom, then when you negotiate, we can negotiate up to something that's more palatable.
John
but
just
not
wants his
too far.
competitive advantage so that his opponent is half awake when he.
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I'm up early.
I
got
remember
kids.
when there was the kerfuffle at the 2020, and you had the option of either playing that night or playing before the round in the next morning. I was like, no, I am not getting up in the
Yeah.
morning to play that round.
Yeah. There was a lot of things with 2020 in hindsight that, I mean,
No.
that year in
I mean, you
general,
guys,
in
you made the
hindsight.
best decision you can
I
make
was
at the
gonna say the
time.
whole year was a
I'm not
waste.
knocking the decision you guys made, but just for reference, I
Yeah.
was literally offered that and was like, no, I will not be playing 40K
Yeah.
at that time in the morning.
There were several people who were like that, so and it's fine. I mean, we had to do what we had to do. That was just
Yeah.
that. And then some other things of note. Let me see here. I got them both open. Then there's areas where we ask for specific feedback from people, and there's things specific to the venues and the participant survey. The most commonly attended was LVO, or I'm sorry, the Las Vegas team tournament is the one that we got most respondents from. The next most was Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Cool. In terms of the respondents responding that they went to those ones, those were the two the most. And then a huge number of respondents from both plan to go to LVO.
Yeah.
Like over 70% of the respondents to both are planning to go to LVO, which is cool.
What we found, John, like, and this is not off the survey, but this is just purely from me seeing at events. Like when we went to Cherokee, we had a lot of people that had never gone to a big event before, like a really big 100+ person event.
Mm-hmm.
And we did Cherokee. Suddenly, a good percentage of the people that went to Cherokee went to their first LVO,
right.
like the following year. So that's these events hopefully excite people to want to go to more, and they get bit by the bug. Frontline Gaming, like, we put on some pretty good events. I know not, they're not perfect. Don't get me wrong. They're definitely not perfect, but they're a lot of fun, and people generally want to go to more events after they've been to the first Frontline Gaming one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the other section was talking about terrain preferences, which is the big one. And then, so we put this one in here for a couple of reasons. One, there are terrain changes we've been planning for a long time. One of which we already announced, which was we're going to try to make sure all the bottom floors are blocked up, because that's something that a lot of players really like the idea of, which I agree with.
John, just to be clear, not every single piece of terrain, but certain pieces of terrain will have the first.
Okay. Right. So for us, it's going to be specific pieces, and we already published pictures with several of the tables and which ones are blocked up, and they'll all be marked with an F, which makes it easy for first floor, right?
Yeah, because the common cry and the immediate feedback was people were worried about the return of magic boxes, but you were on top of that very quickly.
Yeah, and so that was a change we'd had in the works for a long time. In fact, that change is not a result of these surveys, because these surveys don't even ask that question, because we already knew we were making that change, because we'd already received that feedback from players. Then another thing we asked was, well, what do you feel about the player place terrain? So of the people who go to Frontline Gaming events, it's overwhelming 65% like player place terrain, the FLG player place terrain. Those who don't go, the majority still like it, but it's a much lower number threshold for people who like it and don't, which is to be that's understandable. And also there's also a large number of people who responded to the general survey. I think it's 11% who responded, said they've never used it.
Yeah. Right.
So, we've also been looking at ways of changing that up, changing that system, making it better. Now, none of that's going to be announced for LVO. All the changes we've made for terrain for LVO have been made.
Yeah. And John, if you don't mind, on behalf of the Frontline Gaming team, which is, we're a full team of guys at the warehouse, at the manufacturing side, the office, we have to build terrain literally every single day. We have to pump out terrain sets in order to have enough for LVO. So even if we had all the money in the world, we would have to hire, I guess, a lot of staff if we wanted to change this, but we can't. We're just trying to make enough terrain to make LVO happen, right? And it's going to happen. But if we wanted to make new terrain with a new format, a new system, or go back and change all the existing terrain, that's logistically not going to happen. But we have time for the future to start planning on how do we want to adjust the rules or the use of our terrain.
It's definitely a long-term process, and it's also a long-term process to come up with anything like that, like anything like the Games Workshop style terrain system where you have two specific sets, right?
Mhm.
Even something like that takes time to develop, and then also the terrain has to be built for it specifically. And I mean, besides the economies of scale, there's also massive overhead costs involved in doing any type of thing like that. So those are all considerations we have to take into account. One of the interesting things from both was when I asked the question. I asked the same question on both for this one, which is, do you like the the Games Workshop US Open style terrain system with the preset maps? It's almost the exact same percentage that said yes, which is 61% and 61.5%. Both said they like it. And it's
I mean,
almost
it's
the same
possible
number
to
who haven't used it. 14 and a half haven't used it in one, and 16 and a half in the other haven't used it.
Yeah.
So like the numbers very much line up for both sets, whether they're participants in our events or not.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to point out it's possible to like multiple systems.
Yeah.
I've kind of always been a proponent. I know there's some people that want the community to go in the direction of sort of a mono terrain system across all events. Terrain variation between events can significantly vary what armies do well, what lists can do well in those armies. So I personally enjoy that kind of variation between events. So I'm totally down with there being multiple styles of events, and so I can certainly see how like 65% can say, hey, I like player placed at FLG events, but I also like GW pre-placed or mapped terrain.
And it's also it's also important to remember, like Kicker was saying about Frontline Gaming, it'd be almost impossible for them to just change everything within like a couple of weeks, right? It's even more impossible for the smaller events to do something like this when they don't own the machines that make their own terrain. That kind of stuff. So like keeping in mind that like there has to be other systems. It can't all be one system, especially if the system you're looking at is like one that's supported by a multi-million-dollar corporation.
Yeah,
like it's just not possible. And I like the GW US Open style events too. I've played on it. I've judged US Open events. Last year I didn't do any this season, but I did last year, and I like it. It's good. It is something that's good. And then when you ask,
do you think, John, that just look like with that terrain? I played the US Open terrain as well, and I think it's fun. The don't get me wrong, but is there an issue where it moves, where it can kind of, like people assume that the terrain is placed correctly, but through a day terrain moves? Was that ever an issue that you noticed where, you have to go, I guess, reset the terrain in between rounds?
So rarely that happened.
Okay.
Like where there was a significant change.
Yeah.
And we were pretty good about, at the events I was at, I can't speak for any other ones, walking around and making sure.
So the judges are responsible to keep that terrain.
And we're proactive in, hey, that terrain piece is wrong. We'll literally go over and change it.
Okay, cool.
Like even if the game has started, like that's not correct. It needs to be this way. Whatever the case may be, because it's important to play on it the way it's supposed to be played on. But it's not a huge deal, no.
Okay.
And then when we asked, which do you prefer for terrain at an event? People who went to FLG events, the majority of them preferred FLG player place terrain, and then those who didn't, the majority preferred terrain maps, right? But only slightly more so than like player place. So like there's definitely competing theories, and I think there's definitely room to improve, because in the second section I asked, like I called it the feelings section, where we were asking. So we asked how you can improve the FLG events, how can you improve this type of thing, and a lot of the responses we got were not necessarily that you have to adopt one type of terrain over the other, but just suggestions on how to make it better.
Cool.
And so some of that stuff is stuff we'd already talked about and thought of, the judges group. Some of it is stuff that other people had already said to us. And then there's brand new things too. So I'm really excited to like share that with the group so we can all kind of look at it and see what's going on there. But overwhelmingly, people are positive about experience at Frontline Gaming events. They're overwhelmingly positive about their experience overall with 40K in the season, like not just at our events, but at events in general. People are overwhelmingly positive. When you feel about the impact the terrain has on your game, again, overwhelmingly positive in terms of like what the impact of the terrain was.
John, it's making me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Like,
like you just had a big old bowl of Golden Grams.
No, but John, no, this is good to hear, right? But I think something that I know that you started doing on your own, which really made me very proud to call you a friend and part of the Frontline Gaming family, was that you started very proactively trying to, hey, reach out to people or communicate to people that, did have opinions that were not necessarily so positive. And I want people to know, if they're listening to this podcast or if they have a friend that listens, like that, has a thought about Frontline Gaming, like, guys, reach out to us. We are of the community for the community. That is the roots of Frontline Gaming. If there are things you want to share, like, we're open-minded, we want to hear them. Like, that's how we pivot. We can't pivot on the dime because we have literally hundreds of trains just for 40K, and then we have, like, the narrative, we have Age of Sigmar, we have all this other stuff taking place, but we really genuinely do want to do the best that we can possibly do with what we have. So if you do have an opinion, or you got advice, man, like, I love advice, shoot me an email, events@frontlinegaming.org. That is my email. I read it every single day, even on Sunday. So yeah, shoot me an email. John and the judges all have a really cool link on our player packet for 40K, which is a nice formal form that is reviewed every single day. We see the incoming questions, and those questions are answered and posted publicly so that more people can see it. So, guys, we want to be as approachable as we can and really keep Frontline Gaming doing what we do best, which is putting on awesome events.
Yep.
Yeah. John, any other big surprises from the survey? Anything just kind of catch you off guard?
No, nothing caught me off guard. I was pleased that overwhelmingly everybody's experience with Warhammer was positive over the last year.
Yeah.
Because you hear a lot of negativity online. You especially on places like Reddit, not to be down on anybody who uses Reddit, but it's a predominantly negative space.
Yeah.
Twitter's a predominantly negative space, even the 40K community on it. So it's nice to get feedback from not only the people who participate in our events, but also like overall the community online, that it's mostly been a positive experience this year.
Yeah, man, I got to tell you, because I luckily or fortunately have the power to do so. Sometimes I'm like, who are these guys that are really, for lack of a better word, just being such trolls or pain in the ass? It's like, what's their deal? Who the hell is this asshole, right? And I just go look into the ticketing records of Frontline Gaming events as well as some of our partner events, and I can go back and see, like, well, these guys haven't played a competitive game since like 2014, 2015, it's just like some of the loudest mouth people don't actually go to events, and maybe they got really frustrated back 5, 6, 7 years ago when they went to an event. They were really unhappy and they're still bitter about it. But the world of competitive 40K, the community of competitive 40K is completely different now. Come on down to a Frontline Game event, really any competitive event. I'm sure you'll be surprised with how friendly and welcoming and enjoyable the competitive scene can be. And maybe that can change your opinion. So instead of just trolling stuff that might have happened to you, a long time ago, consider coming back out to an event. I think you'll be happy. Seth, you follow the competitive landscape more than I do. How is I hate the B word, but the balance looking? Because John's saying everything's positive. Looks like feedback's good, but how we're looking at a pretty balanced world right now, right? In terms of
so generally speaking, the data seems to be pretty good. The kind of the biggest outliers right now are demons, and mainly kind of on the back of the Flamers of Tzeentch. But kind of in that vein, did either one of you get a chance to watch the Meta Watch? I don't say article, but video GW put out like last week. No,
sorry, no, I did not. Sorry.
So is that on the FLGN? I don't know.
No, it wasn't. But importantly, they recognized some of the shortcomings of the balanced data site that they had put out, that it didn't really change the things they wanted to change. It didn't really see a big win rate improvement for Space Marines or AdMech, and it didn't really see much of in the way of nerfs for Harlequins and Tyranids. So it was nice to see them acknowledge that did not have the planned effect that they were trying to get. So it's nice to see that even though we are fairly balanced in terms of win rates out there, it's not just like GW is going, great job, us. All right, great. We're good. We're done. They were like, no, we didn't see the changes we wanted to see. So we're going to keep working on it. So I think overall, we're in a pretty good spot. I know people are kind of starting to feel like 9th edition's getting a little stale, and I'm sure 10th edition's coming, but that doesn't mean that where the game is in a bad spot. There's plenty of good games left to be played. I have, the kind of smallish event on the horizon. I don't know if you've heard of it. LVO. I hear it's going to be a good time. And it's going to be 9th edition, right? Yeah. So it should be great. It should be a party. So yeah, everything seems to be in a pretty good spot balance wise. There's no boogeyman. The feared rise of the League of Votan really hasn't seen the data support that yet. So I don't think we have any busted armies right now to worry about. So overall, you can kind of go out there and play what you want, Kicker.
Yeah, sweet. John, I'd love to keep you on while Seth goes to the comp track, the 40K competitive track and hobby track. Is that cool?
I'm actually kind of entertained to do the comp track this week with John here because John, in previous years, he hasn't had as much time this year to do it, but you have done kind of updates on the ITC articles. So it'll be interesting to kind of get your take on some of these people because we're towards the end of the season. So I'm looking at top 10s because point wise, most guys in the 10th place spot still have a chance if they were to have that miracle run at LVO to capture the top spot. So let's get into that. Our competitive track for the week, 40K competitive, number 1 is still Jack Harpster. Number 2, Vic VJ. Number 3, John Lennon. Number 4, David Galar. Number 5, Thomas Ogden. Number 6, Manny Chima. Number 7, Colin McDade. Number 8, Mike Porter. Number 9, Nassim Fuchain. And number 10, Innes Wilson. And to my knowledge, John, everyone on that list, minus Mike Porter in 8th, will be at the LVO.
I believe so, yes.
So lots of opportunity for guys to move around here. Anyone in that list that sort of surprises you or maybe previous years has made a run but just couldn't close the deal?
The Art of War guys are almost always in there somewhere in the mix. Innes Wilson has not, as far as I know, made a run in the previous years. Not a strong one, and I feel like he's got a real strong chance this year.
Manny's been putting in time. Same with Thomas. Both those guys have been doing really good this year. So it's really interesting to watch.
I actually remember meeting Thomas 2 years ago at ACO, and he had kind of just come off a break for a while. So he's kind of been getting back at it.
Yeah. And Seth, we should probably point out, like, this is a nice group of people. This is not just Americans. This is a nice spread of almost 50-50 US and non-US.
The European rise of events. The complaint years ago was Europe didn't have access to large scale events, but now there's been a rise of large scale events over there, and we're seeing that kind of bear itself out in the scoring of events in the ITC algorithm. So here we are. We've got a nice mix of foreign and domestic placements there. So hopping on down to the hobby track, our number 1 is Matt Aaron. Number 2, Andrew Gagno, which in my notes I mistyped as Hanyo. So Andrew, you are now Hanyo. Sorry, bud. Jacob Thayer as number 3. Number 4, Lou Rollin. Number 5, Aaron Kilman. Number 6, Dean Pritchard. Number 7, Eric Mullins. Number 8, Derek Page. Number 9, Kevin Grubbs. And number 10, Scott Boucher. And I do know a fair few of these guys, at least over half of them, are going to be at the LVO. So again, high placement there is certainly going to get you going. And Kicker, I've seen Jacob's secret project for his display board.
Yeah. I've seen some works in progress photos of it. Yeah. So, guys, if you are going to LVO, make sure you take time just to roam the hall and look at the beautiful display.
There's going to be some armies there that are going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
It's we look at them in like the codexes and White Dwarfs and online, and you see these really cool pictures. But there's just something different about like having that model right in your face, and you're being like, "How did you as a human do this?"
And there's a certain style to Games Workshop in terms of what they put in their codex versus what you see at an event. And an event, it's the Wild West, man. There is so much creativity on display there that it just blow you away. So I always encourage people to, not in between rounds, like get to the hall early or take time after the hall and just walk around and look at all the cool stuff.
Whenever I won't be tabling anyone because I'm not playing, but if you have the unfortunate scenario of getting tabled, maybe you can lift your spirits by checking out some pretty armies. All right, now into the comp track. Number 1, he changed his name in BCP. I'm going with Gavin Greigar, but it's Gaving now in BCP. So I just thought you're staying with Gavin. Sorry, but yep. Number 2, Anthony Trentinelli. Number 3, Jeremy Vizier. Number 4, Thomas Guan. Number 5, Ridge Hanna. Number 6, Matt Beasley. Number 7, Zach Kennedy. Number 8, Emma Mangles. Number 9, Matt Robish. And number 10, Jiwan Noan Singh. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try. But AOS competitive track, again, a lot of these folks are in striking distance. But I mean, Gavin won 40K or AOS for
last year. Yeah.
GW, he's got a chance to repeat as ITC, and that would be taking down 2 titles in 1 year.
I'm
Just
gonna go
saying,
with Tom Guan.
you're going with Tom.
Because
Tom's got to bring him
I
down.
know Tom from War Machine days. When he
Oh,
was
so you actually know
huge
this
War
guy
Machine
personally?
player. Yeah, he's a
Oh, sweet.
local here.
Yeah.
Sweet,
Yeah,
sweet.
Tom is an excellent player.
I know, like, based on the preview we saw last Wednesday, I think AOS is going to have a really big year coming. They have 9 books coming out next year. That's a lot of books.
Can we just say this straight up? We're at over 380. Sorry, 380 for just the Age of Sigmar champs at LVO.
Yeah.
And that's because we had a cutoff date. We just don't have the train anymore. Like we're maxed
And
out.
have you told the big news about who's streaming that?
No, we got to wait for a little bit
Okay,
longer.
okay.
I can't.
Secrets, folks. Secrets.
Secret
All right.
surprise.
Hop it on down to the hobby track. Number 1, Robert Snyder. Number 2, Nick Garcia. Number 3, Rick Fisher. Number 4, Jeremy Williams. Number 5, Anthony Trentarelli. Number 6, Matt Beasley. Number 7, Gabriel Pacheco. Number 8, Martin Orlando. Number 9, Evan Markham. And number 10, Gareth Thomas. And that is your ITC recap for the week. And I did it so fast and so well, it made Salty John disappear.
He just disappeared. That's okay. John, it was great having you on the show, man. Yeah, Martin Orlando. This guy's awesome. He's our Age of Sigmar ACO TO, and that guy. I didn't realize he was like, his painting stuff is amazing, but I didn't realize he was in the top 10 for the hobby track.
Yeah,
Well done, dude.
Yeah, he's there, man. So
Well
yeah,
done.
pretty
Well
cool.
done.
Pretty cool. AOS has a great community. They're always a bunch of fun guys to hang out with. So I'm super excited to see their community keep growing. You know, my heart is with 40K, but I gotta say, man, those AOS models.
As always, man. No, they're
so
gorgeous.
good.
They're gorgeous.
I actually know some guys that went out and bought the Slaves of Darkness box.
Yeah.
Just to get that Demon Prince. But now they're like, man, these other models are pretty dang good too.
Yeah.
Enough, Seth.
Oh,
We only talk about World Eaters now.
Just World Eaters all the time. Thank you, Tech Priest Dickie.
You're welcome.
Yes, World Eaters will be on our mind for the next 2 to 3 months.
Years.
Well, when they drop, we can.
man,
finally-
it's gonna be so funny when I wreck you, Dickie, and
What?
your World Eaters get sent packing by my orcs.
Wow.
It won't happen.
Gauntlet
won't
is thrown
happen.
down.
It'll happen.
No. All right.
All right. Well, that's all we have for this week. Kicker, do you have any final thoughts for the night?
Yeah, guys, on behalf of Seth, myself, Tech Priest Dickie, the entire Signals from the Frontline crew, as well as the entire Frontline Gaming family, I want to say we are so thankful for this amazing community, and we wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Happy
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we will see you live next Wednesday.
Blah, 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 blah.